Some homes don't like being empty. They wait. And when the right person moves in, they invite. Sharon Quikes didn't believe in haunted houses. She believed in good credit scores, quiet neighborhoods, and cheap rent. So when apartment 2B popped up in a 1920s-era building, old stone walls, wrought iron balconies, and floors that still creaked, she took it. The landlady was polite, but odd. She smiled too long, and when Sharon signed the lease, the old woman only said, "It's a peaceful place. No trouble. Just don't mind the quiet." Sharon didn't think twice. She moved in with just 2 suitcases, a tea kettle, and a sense of relief. Peace and quiet. That's all she wanted. The first night was quiet, peaceful even. The second night, she noticed the door to the dining room was slightly ajar, even though she'd locked it. But she blamed the draft. By the end of the week, her nerves began to fray. Every day at exactly 7 p.m., the dining table would be set for 2. Same plates, same forks, folded napkins, even a flickering candle. But she lived alone. At first, she thought it was a prank. Maybe the landlady was being weird. So she set up her phone camera to catch the culprit. All it recorded was stillness. Nothing moved, and the table was already set by the time the footage began. One night, she found a handwritten note tucked under her door. The note read, "Dinner is served. Please don't be late. No return address. No name." The handwriting. It looked like it belonged to another century. Sharon laughed it off, but the laugh caught in her throat when she noticed that night's meal included a wine glass filled to the brim with something red. Clock ticking louder. Rain is growing heavier. She decided to leave, to break her lease. But at 6:59 p.m., the front door locked by itself. She tugged, pulled, and jiggled the handle until her fingers went numb. Then, she heard footsteps behind her, slow, careful, right by the dining room. She turned. No one was there, just the second chair, slightly pulled out, waiting. She barely slept. The next day, she tore the wallpaper behind a cold spot on the wall, the part that always made her hair stand. Behind it, she found a door, hidden. It was small and rotting at the edges. Inside was a room, frozen in time. Dust-covered plates, 2 chairs, and a tarnished dinner bell resting in the middle of the table. Her curiosity made her ring it once, just once. The moment the bell dinged, the floor creaked. The walls moaned, the lights flickered, and the table in her actual apartment reset itself. Clean plates, lit candle, and a silver envelope sitting by her usual seat. Sharon gathered all the strength in her legs, walked to the table, and picked up the envelope. She opened, and it contained a note which read, "Welcome home, Lillian." Lillian, confused. Sharon rushed to City Records and found out apartment 2B had one resident that lived there during the 1940s. Lillian Morrow, a music teacher, kind, friendly. She was declared missing in 1943. No struggle, no leads, but her apartment was found untouched and a table set for 2, just like now. Back at home, Sharon found one last note on her pillow. The note read, "Thank you for staying. We've been so very lonely." That night, at 7 p.m., the second seat wasn't empty anymore. She sat across from someone. She couldn't describe their face because it wasn't still. It kept changing. A blur of eyes, a flicker of smiles, a voice that didn't match the mouth. They said, "We were beginning to think you'd never come home." Sharon tried to scream, run, but her body wouldn't move. She just sat there, paralyzed, as the invisible host filled her glass. She had no choice but to take one sip. Then time folded in on itself. The next morning, the building was quiet. Apartment 2B was empty. The landlady passed by 2B and paused, quiet as always. She knocked once, no answer. She smiled gently. Inside, the table was set again, 2 plates, a flickering candle, and one fresh note, saying, "Dinner was lovely. We'll be expecting our next guest soon." The landlady stood outside the door a moment longer, as if listening. Why did she always pause there? Did she know? Did she ever wonder why? No one ever saw the guest leave. And what about the others? The ones before Sharon? Did they vanish too? Silently, without any struggle or trace? Who's setting the table now? Is it Sharon now? Inside, the air was still. That note, so elegantly written, looked freshly placed, but there had been no sound, no footsteps, no voices. Only silence and that flickering candle. Was it a tradition? A ritual? The second plate, always untouched, always clean, but never removed. And the red in the glass was surely wine, right? Would you accept a dinner invitation from 2B? Would you knock if you heard laughter? If you saw candlelight flickering under the door? Would you go inside, or would you keep walking, pretending not to notice? Because maybe the building itself remembers. Maybe that room, 2B, wasn't just an apartment. Maybe it's a threshold, a waiting place for the curious, the lonely, the brave, or maybe the foolish. The landlady walked away that morning, humming softly. But behind the door, the candle danced, the glasses gleamed, and the room waited for the next guest. Are you next?